Hi, it's Scott, ROCKFILE, back with another podcast review for you. Going to talk about the 2010 movie Red, in a new 4K edition, of course. Do you remember Red? A whole bunch of big stars in it, made a lot of money. They made a sequel. They were supposed to make a third one, but Bruce Willis isn't making movies anymore. Main reason I picked it up. I saw Red when it came out originally in 2010. The movie, on a $60 million budget, went on to make almost $200 million, greenlighting the sequel. It brought together Bruce Willis, Morgan Freeman, John Malkovich, Mary Louise Parker, Helen Mirren, Carl Urban, Brian Cox, Richard Dreyfuss, Ernest Borgnine, James Remar, Julia McMahon. Do you remember Nip Tuck? Julia McMahon is in this movie. It was directed by Robert Schwenke. I mentioned him recently when I re-reviewed the G.I. Joe movie Snake Eyes. It came out in 2021, which I thought was better than most people gave it credit for. I think this movie is better than most people gave it credit for, although it's got a nice Rotten Tomatoes score, and most people score it very high. Watching it now, I didn't remember how good this movie is. It flows, it moves. It's, about an hour and 45 minutes, and it's thrilling. It's fun. It's funny. I laughed out loud many times. As someone who owns most action movies ever made and who's pretty much the jaded action movie guy, seen it all before, done it. Sure, there's some cheesy moments like where Bruce Willis is whipping around in a car and he kind of smoothly steps out of the car, pulls out a gun and starts firing as the car barely misses his heel as it's swirling away. He kind of just stepped out of it and all in slow motion, and it's beautiful. It's really a well-filmed action scene. And with anybody else doing it in any other movie, you would have gone, oh, that's terrible. That's cheesy. But Bruce Willis doing it and done with this finesse, all the action scenes pretty much in the movie are that way. You're seeing some of the biggest movie stars of all time go nuts. If you don't know what the movie is about, this was based on a DC comic, a short-lived DC comic that I didn't know anything about. When this first came out, I was like, really? It's based on a comic book? I wouldn't have thought that. So it was based on a limited edition or a limited run DC comic. Basically, retired CIA veterans brought back into service to find out why they're getting killed off. This was kind of the story of the last season of Reacher. But again, Bruce Willis, Morgan Freeman, John Malkovich, Mary Louise Parker. There's a romance element to it. Bruce Willis and Mary Louise Parker have been talking for the last few months. He's been tearing up his checks that he gets from Medicare or whatever, and they have to send him more, so he has to stay on the phone with her. And they finally start, working on a date, and that's when about the time he gets attacked by assassins, and he takes them out, and he starts finding out all his other teammates are being attacked by assassins. Literally, this is the same story we've seen in other movies and TV shows as much as recently. But it's so well done, and everybody is having such a blast. I mean, Ernest Borgnine, this was one of his tail end of his career movies before he passed away. He's fantastic in the film. He's wonderful. Everybody is great in the movie. Like I said, the action set pieces are fantastic. There's some special effects, but it's a lot of practical stuff, practical car chases, anyway. I sound like I'm calling this the greatest action movie of all time. It's not, but it was much more entertaining and much better than I thought it was when I sat down to watch it. So Walmart has come out with a new 2-movie steelbook set from Lionsgate. It's got a nice slipcover. It's actually a very nice steelbook, and it's got both Red movies in there on Blu-ray and 4K. Now, the Red movies have been released on 4K before, but not in a steelbook like this, and I never upgraded them. I had the Blu-rays from way back in the day. So when I saw that Walmart was getting this, so with the price of one movie, you're getting 2, and they've been upgraded into Dolby Atmos and Dolby Vision, yeah, why not? I'll revisit them. The price was right, and they finally popped up in my Walmart. So I finally pulled out the first one, and I'm reviewing this without watching the second one. I didn't want my review of the second one to be colored by the first one, because I came out of this, it was one of several things I was going to watch, and I just, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, yeah, I'll watch this because I haven't seen a Bruce Willis movie in a long time. And again, I think it's very sad that he can't make movies anymore. And so I wanted to watch a Bruce Willis movie, and I love Morgan Freeman, and I love John Malkovich, and I love Helen Mirren, and I love Carl Urban. I love everybody in this film, and they're all having such a blast. It also has this, the romance part is a little bit of that Sandra Bullock movie from about 2 years ago, where woman is really into, well, she was writing them in the Sandra Bullock movie, but in this one, she's really into romance novels where the heroine is picked up by this mysterious secret agent and they have to go off on an adventure. And they mine some comedy out of that a little bit, but it's definitely not a major theme in the film. But it's cute and it's fun and it works with the rolling, it's a steamrolling snowball downhill of action and comedy and drama and oh my and surprises. And really, they really couldn't have made it much better than it was. On a $60 million budget, this movie looks like a $200 million movie, but that's how much it made. Summon Entertainment, they made their money on movies like Twilight and then bankrolled some of these things. And the production team, the writing, everything about it. This is just, if it came out today, I think everybody would be pretty pleased with it. A lot of reviewers would say, well, it's just more of what we've seen in a John Wick movie or whatever. But this is some of our favorite, more elderly actors doing some pretty crazy things. And it was a lot of fun. John Malkovich plays a little bit of a crazy like he kind of does these days. Bruce Willis is kind of the straight character through it. I don't know. It hit me just the right way. It was a lot of fun. It ends well and leads to a second film, which you can buy in this box set if you want to get them both. Now, as 4Ks go, the picture looks great. I believe it's an upconvert, but with Dolby Vision, there were several scenes that looked like a brand new film. Not that it had been scrubbed of film grain or anything like that, but colors popped, explosions popped. There were specular highlights to things you didn't expect. It was really a good-looking transfer. The Dolby Atmos, at first I was like, oh, this is nice. The music's in it and everything. Then there's a big explosion towards the beginning, and that thing rolls up through your front speakers up over your head. You feel the height and the explosion as the fireball rolls up into the sky. That was amazing. That right there was like, okay, this is a great Atmos mix. For a lot of the movie, you don't notice the Atmos. It's, birds singing and clouds and wind and stuff. But every once in a while, there's music cues in it or some kind of sound effect, a helicopter flies by or whatever, where the Dolby Atmos does get pretty active up there in the height channels. Overall, I thought the soundtrack sounded much better than a movie that's 14 years old. Hard to believe it was 14 years ago this movie came out. So Red, it's available now on Blu-ray 4K and now in this new Walmart 4K Steelbook edition with both movies. You get them both on Blu-ray, you get them both in 4K. Did not pop in the Blu-ray to see if they remastered that or not from the originals. I have no idea. I did watch a couple of the extras. There's a lot of deleted and extended scenes on the 4K, and that's about it. There is a commentary with a former CIA operative. A real CIA opera. I think that would be an interesting commentary to watch in this movie if I ever get around to it. All in all, 2 thumbs up. I thought this was a great movie, highly entertaining, fast-paced, funny, action-packed, surprises, and in the end, I wanted more. I was almost ready to pop in the second movie when this one was over. I can't give that a higher review. So it stood the test of time. 14 years later, Red, the 2010 film, pretty darn good. And it's nice to see Bruce Willis in a good role doing good work. I don't know. It was a lot of fun. So I would suggest picking up this 4-disc 2-movie edition that's available at Walmart because it's cheaper to get that than to try to buy the movie separately on 4K. But I'll be back in my next review. I will review Red 2 and let you know how that one compares to the first one. But I gotta say, Red from 2010, that's one of my favorite action movies from the 2010s, if you will. I'm Scott. I'm ROCKFILE. Check out the new 4K edition, if you will. More reviews are on the way. Links are below. Please check those out and have a spectacular day.